Okay, so welcome to the seventh weekly sync. Let's see the demos. Chamaka will be handling them after she handled the code reviews. So Chamaka, please take over.
All right. So you can go ahead and see the refactoring. You guys, I see that you've merged into the main branch, so you can demo from the main branch.
Okay. I don't have the main branch, so I'm just gonna really do it from my local, but it's the same code, I think.
Oh, okay.
Let me.
If you
But
merge if you merge to master, it should be in the live link.
If you have, you can pull down from master, so you have the complete code, the updated.
Where is a live link? It's just in the thing, right? It's just in the description, like in the.
Let me quickly send it to you.
Okay. Because I've only been looking at the. It's okay. I have the local version, so it's fine. Just trying to see if there's. Okay, never mind. Yeah, got it. So basically what I'm gonna demo is just everything works the same, right? I mean, that's what we want to see. Like nothing should be different.
Yeah, and then the code, the refactored code.
Yeah, okay. All right, let me find the code and I shall demo that. Okay, so I think I will use a local copy just because that's the one I have the list in. So basically everything works the same way. We go to list, we see a list with the items that are now hopefully sorted properly based on first whether they're active or inactive, and then based on their estimated purchase interval, and then alphabetically. So that's how they should be sorted. And then we can check that all the sorting functions are still working, which they are. If you have any requests, you can let me know. We can add items. Still, item already exists. So the filtering or the validation is still working. So let's try something else that still also exists. Yeah, okay. Let's try that one. This one is added and it goes to the top of the list. So that's basically the same functionalities with the sorting now fixed. And then the code. So the code itself, we mainly extracted components out of, I think, from list items. So from list items, we extracted out the sort item component. So that's part of sort. So the sorting is now happening in its own component. And basically that takes care of the sort. And then we have extracted also the colors and the real labels in the colors component. So that's taking care of the coloring and the labeling. And then I believe we also have validation extracted. So that's the validation that would have occurred with add item here is now extracted into the validation component. So those are the three components that were extracted. So that's about it. Questions?
All right. That is so cool. Okay, so are there any questions? So I'm guessing you plan to focus on styling the app next week, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that is cool. All right, does anyone have any question or clarification?
I'm checking the live application because it was a merge to master, but I think it hasn't been deployed or it's not working for me.
It's not working for you?
Let me check.
Okay, let me share my screen. I'll just make a list on the go. So this is a live version. So let me just add a bunch of stuff. So what part isn't working for you, David?
I think it's because my cookies on the application, the token I have is old, so it's failing. But yeah, I'm going to clear the cache.
Okay, okay. I think they wiped the database. That could be the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's working.
okay. Yeah, and then you can start to manipulate the list and see if it's still working once you start checking them off with your list. It's already there. Yes. Let's see.
Okay, I have a question. It's not related to with the code itself. It's more for your experience. Have you been exposed to any kind of testing in your learning until this point?
Yeah, I've done some testing. Why?
It's I don't know, maybe if in this week of my English is super rusty today.
You want us to write some tests? Is that
No,
what you
no,
mean?
I
Oh,
want
Week of improvement, refactoring.
yeah, it's for me it's weird because when we say refactor, a refactor is normally when you have test coverage, so you don't have to test manually. When you change things, there is an automation thing that tells you that you didn't broke anything.
yeah.
So I was thinking if maybe the Collab lab can provide some black box testing so we can. I think not, because every team does its implementation its own way. So it's only a rant for me. So what kind of testing have you been exposed to? Huh?
Like I don't know, are they called like unit tests where it's like every method gets tested individually? So I have not done like an entire app getting tested. I'm actually going to do that next week. But I have done with Ruby, I've done like unit testing with like specific methods, every like coverage in terms of methods that you get to a certain percentage. I've done that.
Maybe who's going to host the office hours this week? Wolfo, do you know?
I'm hosting them, and if you are talking about testing, sorry for interrupting. A very good tool for end-to-end testing is Cypress. It's very easy to set up.
Yeah, I was thinking on maybe building a super small example to show you in the office hours if you like.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We can set up Cypress and make a small test, so I can show you how end-to-end testing is done. That's very important, and also helps you when refactoring to not break anything.
Yeah, perfect. That would be great.
Yeah, would love to see as well. I mean, like I heard Cypress many times, but I haven't tried Cypress.
What I love so much about Cypress, it's easy to set up and it has really great documentation. Anything you need, you can find it on their site. It's very cool.
Yeah, and I heard it works well with React too.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I've used the Cypress on React project. But if we are to make changes now with Cypress, things like we may not necessarily like testing. Sometimes we start out with testing as we start off coding, so that if it is a code base that we need to be refactoring with time, or we need to be changing something, then so that if there is any breaking changes that we can be able to identify. But if we are almost done with the project and we are writing tests for it, now I don't know what we are aiming to achieve. That we want to make in the process, if we are making other changes to it so that it will not break or what. Yes.
I agree that, it's better to have changes early as possible. But I think even later is better than never. But that's a great point, Edima.
Yeah, and the use is just to introduce us to just testing, not that we are writing tests for the entire project. Just a little introduction.
Yep.
So do we have anything else to demo? Anybody else has questions?
No, nothing more to demo.
Okay, thank you. So now let's move on to issues, which are actually the same as the previous week, right? So it's David's turn to present the issues.
Do you want? Yeah, let's go. Give me a second. Okay, so yeah, it's same as last week. As a user, as a user, I want the app to look professional and welcoming. So, as you know, this week you will need to self-organize around design process that we went to last week. And yeah, you will need to decide what approach do you want to use and create some issues in the board, assign them and work on them as is fit. Those were as you have been working the past weeks. So you have seen how it's important to put effort in how do you write the stories needed for complete the implementation. So I don't know, you can do you want to talk about this or do you need to go through this again? What do you think about the design process or not?
For me, it would be more interesting if we heard their ideas for the coming week, I think.
It's like for the design process or anything, should we make like a Figma or something? Like a mock,
I think that's too much. Maybe it's
right?
yeah.
So we just jumped into it, right? Like we agreeing on how the design is and then just jump into the styling.
I think if any of you is very conversant with Figma, you could do something like from tonight till probably tomorrow, Monday, and then like bring it all together and then have the rest of the team members making inputs like color, fonts, and then pictures. If you want to use pictures, probably on the homepage or anything. It's kind of give you a direction, but you can as well go straight to coding the design. You can also use Dribble. Like it's a really cool website where you can get design inspirations. Yeah.
Have you decided or talk about, or do you have some strong opinions on using a CSS framework, or do you think you are going to go vanilla, or have you talked about that? What's your opinion?
I have very little expertise or interest in UI, so I really can't be of much help. I'm happy to help out. So if someone else please take the lead, because that's really not my thing.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about it, but I mean, like for I've tried the other days with vanilla, and it's a little bit too much to handle. But for I don't know, for frameworks, I've tried Tailwind and Bootstrap, but Bootstrap was like Bootstrap 3. I heard that they have Bootstrap 5 now. It's a little bit different, so I have no experience with that. I don't know. Edema, do you have any thought on it?
I don't really have much experience. I just have an idea of some of the frameworks, CSS framework, but and if we are to go with the vanilla CSS from scratch, I think it might make sense, but we will really be able to like put everything together to give us the kind of design that we would like, and we will really have the as much expertise to be able to do something that we will really like. So, but maybe we can look at some of the frameworks and check out the one that we can easily go through, because since we have idea, it's something like material CSS, material CSS for UI, so we can check it out. Anyone that, first of all, if we can be able to come up with a design that you like, and I don't know if anyone has something in mind, maybe anyone has experience with Figma, anything, so we can then know if we have to use any framework and maybe use this night and go through it and come up with them. But I don't really have much experience with some of these frameworks, but if I go through it, like I can be able to come up with something.
Also, as you have only 1 week left, maybe also going with the wireframes that are already there if you want, and try to make the application look with your touch as much as possible like the wireframe. You can also do that to use this week as efficient as possible. But yeah, I did front end long time ago, but yeah, it was Bootstrap 2. So I cannot help with that.
I hate Bootstrap, funny enough.
Really? Bootstrap is so simple though.
I have a
It
bad
just looks the
experience.
same, but it's so
I have a very
simple.
bad experience. Like when I was learning JavaScript, it really messed me up. Like I had a very bad experience with it when I was starting out. So that made me to hate it. I didn't even now that I'm a little bit more experienced, I don't even look that side. I use Tailwind, styled components. Wow, styled components is my best right now.
I've heard good things about Tailwind, yeah. But they say it's easier than Bootstrap, but I already find Bootstrap like, I don't know if you can get simpler than Bootstrap, but apparently you can.
Yeah, it happens that way. I mean, I've not really like checked it out since I had a bad experience with it. Well, it's nice though. It's actually the first, I think it's one of the first CSS frameworks, and every other framework built like copied their style. So
maybe you had a bad experience with the documentation or something. Like it just wasn't clear. It's pretty clear now, I feel. Like when you go to their website and you search for something that you want to do, it's like fairly clear. Yeah, maybe they've improved. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, anything if anybody wants to build with Bootstrap, I can do it. It's not that bad.
I just have a comment about Material UI. I don't know about the other ones, but since I've used Material UI, the site has a very nice design guide. So if you don't know anything about design or something, you can use our design guide. The only problem is that it's a bit boring because, it looks like the typical Google products. So you can't do a lot of changes. Just want to say that.
One of the pros or using a framework is that it's going to be easier if you want to split the work, or maybe, okay, a pair is going to work on the front, the main page, another on the list, things like that. If you use the same framework, you know that it's going to be consistent. For
Yeah.
example, going vanilla will require more coordination for your part. So,
And more code too.
so yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
not doing
mean-
vanilla. I can't even center anything. No, no.
Yeah, I mean, vanilla CSS is for people who are very good at design and, they know exactly what to make, so they need a lot of freedom. But for somebody who doesn't know much, like me, for example, frameworks are better.
Yeah, that's it's
Yeah, agreed.
the wise choice for the ones that doesn't like design.
Design aspect. If we could get a design, so the other things might become a lot. So is if we could get a design, then the CSS, vanilla CSS might not really be as tasking. But if we are not able to come up with a good design, then I think going with the frameworks will be more rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, with frameworks, there's always, in the beginning, you have to understand how they work, but I think it saves you time. But yeah, if you discuss it among you and, you find out that it's too difficult to learn a framework, because I mean, right now the CSS is not so bad. It just needs, a couple of things are overlapping. You need some space here and there. It's not, terrible. Even if right now you fix a couple of things, it will instantly look very professional. So either way.
Okay, so you should meet as soon as possible and decide how you want to work, and remember to try to be how to put as much detail as possible in the stories that you write for that, because maybe imagine that for any reason someone cannot work that day, so if someone from the other page has to work, so it needs to be clear what is needed to do. So it's important as a communication exercise to write good stories for this week. Okay, so I think it's up to you for this week.
Okay, so if we don't have anything else for the issues, now we're going to look at the module on accessibility. I'll be presenting it.
Golfo, you are on mute.
Okay, now you can hear me. I'm unmuted.
Yep.
How do you present in full screen? Because I've never been able to. Okay, I've never been able to present in full screen. I always present like this, but I think it's visible. So, okay, we're going to look at accessibility, the what, the why, and the how. So accessibility is different than ally, equals ally, sorry, what we call ally. From Wikipedia, web accessibility is the inclusive practice of ensuring there are no barriers that prevent interaction with or access to websites on the World Wide Web by people with physical disabilities, situational disabilities, and socioeconomic restrictions on bandwidth and speed. When sites are correctly designed, developed, and edited, generally all users have equal access to information and functionality. So the W3C maintains a working group dedicated to web accessibility and publishes related standards. In the US, Section 508 requires government agencies to make websites accessible to people with disabilities. And I think it might be the same in the European Union, I think at least for government sites. So some people with disabilities access websites using assistive technologies. These include screen readers, screen magnifiers, speech input, assistive keyboards, and braille displays. Popular screen readers include NVDA and JAWS on Windows, and VoiceOver, which is built into Mac OS. And I think Linux also has built-in screen reader, but I've never used it. So why do we need to have accessibility? First of all, it's the right thing to do to provide equitable access to information. 2, you may be legally obligated to make your website accessible. 3, more people in the US access websites with assistive technology than live in Canada. So that's a lot of people. Some estimate that 20% of website visitors have some sort of disability. And making your pages more accessible for people with disabilities makes them more accessible for everyone. I mean, even people that don't have a disability benefit from accessible web pages. So there's different kind of disabilities. And for this, we use the persona spectrum. We use the persona spectrum to understand related mismatches and motivations across a spectrum of permanent, temporary, and situational scenarios. It's a quick tool to help foster empathy and to show how a solution scales to a broader audience. So for instance, for touch, a permanent disability might be somebody with one arm. A temporary disability might be somebody with an arm injury. And a situational disability might be somebody who's a new parent and holding a baby in their arms. Something related to seeing is a permanent disability, somebody who's blind. It's temporary if they have a cataract. And the situational disability is a distracted driver. So they can't look, for instance, at their device while they're driving. And for hearing, it's somebody who's deaf has a permanent disability. Near affection is a temporary disability, and the bartender can't hear while he's working because of all the loud music. And with speaking, maybe there's something, somebody who can't speak, has a permanent, can't speak at all. Somebody who has a temporary disability to speak because he has laryngitis or COVID, which is more appropriate. And, or maybe somebody has a heavy accent. This is situational.
I would like to know what that icon means.
That looks like a Viking, I would say. So he's, I don't know, has a heavy accent. And so we have to think about all of these people and try to help them. So how we can help them is you can use valid semantic HTML. So, no divs everywhere. We need to use HTML that signifies headers, footers, articles, etc. And the quote by Uriah Estevez is that the best area is no area at all. We need to use semantic HTML whenever possible. 2, we should always include alt attributes on our image tags. So somebody who can't see the image can read what is going on in the image. Of course, this is not necessary when you have images that are purely decorative, like you have something like a border or a separator or something like that, very simple. Use ARIA attributes whenever necessary. There are quite a few of them. Ensure all content is reachable via keyboard and not only by mouse. Ensure content and tab ordering makes sense. Because sometimes we can use styling to change around the content or ordering, but semantically it needs to make sense. Use sufficient color contrast. Color contrast and can help people that are colorblind or people who are partially blind. And there are sites that you can use to check if the color contrast is enough. And don't use only color to signify state like we did here in the Collab project. We need to signify state either with area attributes, with text, or another way. And how we can identify ally issues for remediation. There are automated tools such as Axe. It's a good start, but only finds 30% of the issues. There are guided audits, such as what's built into accessibility insights, and audits by accessibility testers by companies such as FableTech Labs. And by the way, I'm going to share the presentation afterwards and all of the links. So here's a demo, but since Andrew is much better at this than me, I will show you the demo by Andrew. Can you hear the video? Can you hear and see it?
Yeah, we can see, but
I can't hear anything.
I don't think the sound is coming up.
Could you hear the sound now?
Nope. I
No.
think it's because you're using an earpiece, so the sound is going to just you, I think.
Okay, so I thought Zoom is just getting it. Okay, I'll remove the earpiece.
And they decided to fight it in court instead of just fixing the problems.
Could you hear it now?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So I'll make it full screen. I'll increase the volume also.
And some people estimate that it would have cost them about $20,000 to fix the problem. That's not chump change, right? But it probably cost them like $200,000 to fight it in court. So why didn't they just do that? And I have theories about that, but I won't go into it. But anyway, they decided to like the hill they were going to die on was like fighting, except like making it so making it so their website isn't accessible to people with disabilities. Like it doesn't make any sense, right? So anyway, that's why we get to pick on them today because they deserve it. But anyway, what we're going to do is I'm just going to take the little extension up here. I'm going to click on it. Oops, yep, I'm going to click on it right. And it pops this little thing up. So Accessibility Insights has kind of three options. So it basically, so you can see it down here. It's actually powered by Axe, the tool that I was just talking about. There's this fast pass thing, which is a great way to get like kind of a summary of any accessibility problems on a page. It has a more in-depth assessment mode. So you actually go through, and I'll show you that as well, but you go through kind of each thing that the FastPass looks at, and you can kind of run pieces independently and kind of get more information. And then it has this kind of ad hoc mode where you pick and choose which of those many things you want it to run. So we'll start off by just doing FastPass. So this is why I need to share more of my screen. So it basically just when you click on it, we're in FastPass mode up here. It just goes through and it finds problems, and you see there's 26 like violations of rules. They're all color contrast. So we open that up and we get a link to find out more about color contrast, more about the kind of WCAG. So I didn't mention WCAG, but that's the accessibility working groups. That's their kind of a moniker or whatever. Anyway, this is a link to the spec that talks about color contrast. And then it goes through and it shows you for each of the violations what the actual problem is. So they have a background color that's this, the foreground color, the text color is this kind of dark gray, and they have the background color is a light gray. So you notice it's like, we don't see anything here. When we scroll down, aha, look at that. So it has each of those violations kind of circled in red, and you click on the little information icon there, and it tells you more about what the actual rule is that got violated. I'm going to open up and inspect the page, and then actually I'll take it out of it's a little bigger. Anyway, And then you can actually just click that to inspect the HTML where the problem is. So, so it'll actually take you to that element. So you don't have to like, you know, hunt around for it or whatever, no. But it'll tell you. So you can see that there's this underlying class, and to be able to see where the fonts are, or the colors are declared and everything. So, so that's FastPass mode. Very useful, very fast. It has this other feature which is called tab stops, which is kind of fun. So, tap first. So you turn on the tab stops thing, and then you literally start tabbing around the page. So I'm just hitting the tab key repeatedly, and it will show you the order that things will like kind of gain focus as you tab around. So I don't know what that's about, but going way up there, I think that may just because it's a mobile screen. But if we go through, it actually looks like stuff is pretty in a pretty reasonable order. Except for this thing. Why is, or I can't get to it there. Like finally you get down to the little chat help thing about your order or whatever. And it's the very last thing. Like in order to get to that, like say if you were on a screen reader and you knew that that's the thing you wanted, you would have to tab 55 times to get to that. So maybe that's something that you could consider, moving that up in the tab order above all this legalese that you probably don't care about, right? All right, so that was FastPass. So actually I'm gonna go into assessment mode here, and you can see that there are these 24 categories of things that, this is actually what FastPass is kind of checking in the background. So there's automated checks, so color contrast again, so we can kind of, again, kind of get more information about the different things. Keyboard navigation, so we can do kind of the visual helper for that. Again, that's the tabbing through stuff. Focus. So again, kind of what elements can take focus. Anyway, so there's landmarks is actually a super important one. So a lot of the screen readers, they organize things into, with like headers and landmarks are kind of the two big navigational, like top level navigational elements. So, so a landmark should have a role and a bunch of things. Anyway, there's, as you can see, there's just a ton of information here. If you go through this and you really kind of try to digest all this, you're going to come out of it with a really good understanding of accessibility generally. So we're running out of time, so I'll cut it short, but is that helpful to see that?
That was really cool.
Mhm.
That was super, super cool.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love that tool.
Yeah, so that tool was really awesome. And back to the presentation. Of course, Google DevTools also has a very basic version. It's Lighthouse. I don't know if you have used it yet. You can do an auditing of your web page, but it's not as detailed as the tool Andrew showed us, the Axe. And here are some resources that I'll share later about accessibility. And also improving accessibility is another idea for improving your app and making it more professional. And also improving accessibility, for instance, you can also contribute to an open source project. You can offer to improve accessibility. So you run their app or site through the Axe add-on. You find accessibility problems and you can fix them. So, okay, I want to show you Lighthouse, but it's still warming up. Did you use any tools for accessibility when you were working on the app?
Yeah, I used the Lighthouse and also Wave for Windows. I already fixed some of the accessibility issues. And I also use the screen reader, the NVDA. Yeah. So, but yeah, we still have to like try to look at it again. But so far, I already fixed some of the accessibility issues, like losing semantic tags, and then like in the input, you need some legends or something like that for the checkbox. I already add those.
And what I really liked in that demo is that how Andrew demonstrated that in that page with the order button, that the order button is the most important button, and instead of it the user being able to access it directly, it was on the bottom of the page. And so many times accessibility is an afterthought to us. I'll admit that for me it's an afterthought when making a site, but we should really think about it first. Because a lot of people rely on these assistive technologies. So any questions, comments about accessibility?
I can suggest you to follow some people with disabilities in Twitter. It's your daily dose of people complaining about sites. Or here in Spain, there are a couple super famous. Trying to book a train ticket is horrible. In our governmental page, it's horrible also. So it's almost impossible for them. So, and I don't know if you have seen any video of how a deaf person uses a screen reader. The velocity that they listen to, it's amazing. It's something that it's mind-blowing. It's 4x or something like that. The text reader, I cannot understand anything, and they go through the page like super fast. And those things make you, it's daily, not daily, but those, if you are a Twitter user, following some people like those. There are also developers who share how they code in Braille with the keyboard. It's amazing.
David, if you know any people, and especially if they tweet in English, please share their handles.
I think there is one that
I know Ben Myers. I think he's also he's really big, and he's also disability. So he also a developer. So I follow him on Twitter.
Please mention it in our channel, because I'm very interested to follow them.
Yeah, I will look. The one I'm mentioning, he was hired by Microsoft in Dublin, so he moved last month, I think, to live there. So
the only thing that I want to know is, like, when you have a checkbox, right? And we have like a checkbox for the inactive. It's we have a disable, so we cannot click it. But with the screen readers, it will skip that particular disable checkbox. So screen readers would only read the active ones, but not the inactive ones. So I think that people who cannot see, and they really based on the screen readers, they would not know that they have some inactive items. So I don't know yet, like, how to
I think for that you can mimic the style for people without disabilities. Mimic the styles that is that you can get when you click on you put the disable attribute, not using the disable attribute, but making for the people without disabilities that looks like it's disabled. And also with JavaScript, you can disable the click with prevent default and things like that. So it's hacking around, but the other way around. So
okay.
So you can use something like that.
Thank you. But yeah, we'll see about that. I don't really know how to for now.
Okay, so we are entering the final week. As we say in Greece, we have eaten the donkey and we only have the tail left. So we are almost done with the project. It's already looking very good. This week, I'll be doing office hours and David will be doing code review. So thank you very much for all your efforts. Have a nice week.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay,
Please
bye.
invite
Bye.
me to the office hours. I'd like to attend.
Okay, great, awesome. Actually, I'll just post a link. Whoever wants to join can join.
Yeah, okay.
I'll try. I think it's better we do it on Monday or Tuesday. So
Okay.
I'll try to do it on Tuesday. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Enjoy the last week.
Bye.
Bye.